I believe in a city that Gramophone, the international classical music publication, says has one of the 10 best orchestras in the entire world. I believe in a city that The Economist, after measuring education, health, culture, environment, and safety, has repeatedly named Cleveland one of the 10 most livable cities in America. Thank you. And I believe in a city that, to quote Mark Twain, contains one of the finest streets in America, Euclid Avenue. I believe in a city that gave us Superman. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, two Glenville High School graduates, came up with the character Superman in the early 1930s. In their first draft, Superman was a telepathic villain bent on world domination. But that wasn't the version the world came to know. Siegel and Shuster reimagined Superman into a hero of great strength and virtue. I think that says something important about who we are. Because in fiction, no less than in real life, Cleveland's gift to the world wasn't paralyzing fear in the face of challenging circumstances. It wasn't stubborn nostalgia for a world as it was. Cleveland's gift to the world was hope, pride, a righter of wrongs, and a reason to believe in better days ahead. Thank you.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to Governor Strickland's annual discussion on Northeast Ohio's economy. We will return to the Governor in just a few moments for questions and answers. We ask you to formulate your questions now and remind you to keep them brief and to the point. We welcome you to the City Club of Cleveland, the longest continuously running free speech forum in the country. To watch our forums live and to learn more about our upcoming programs, please visit our website at cityclub.org. We are pleased to have corporate sponsorship for today's forum from Sisters of Charity Health System. With us today is Sister Judith Ann Karam, President and Chief Executive Officer of Sisters of Charity Health System and President and CEO of St. Vincent Charity Medical Center, and Robin Bachman, Assistant Vice President, Government Affairs and Public Policy. Would you both please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Now, let's return to the Governor for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphones are PR and Programs Manager Carrie Miller and Database Manager Lucille Barbati. Over there. So please come to the microphones on either side of the room if you have a question. And looks like someone's making their way. Do we have a question? I'm sure we have some questions for the Governor. Here's one up here. Please make your way to the microphone, please. And we'll get going with Jay Westbrook's question for the Governor.
Well, here we go. I'll break the silence. Governor, very dramatic presentation. Thank you. In the opening remarks, Jan referred to one of the crises that continues to trouble our state, the mortgage foreclosure crisis. The work that is going to be required to recover. And specifically, I'm so glad to see Representative Mike Foley here because he introduced legislation that helps move us in the right direction, but we need the Senate to join in. We need help from Columbus to help Cleveland and all the other regions of the state to continue to recover from this crisis. What in your view, can and should the state be doing to help us continue this journey? Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question, and I also want to congratulate the good Representative Foley for his good work. Legislation was introduced into the House. It passed. It has languished there for months. The Senate has refused to take it up, quite frankly. And as my Lieutenant Governor running mate said when she gave a speech a couple of days ago, it's unfortunate that Ohioans are being kicked to the curb while senators are lounging beside the pool during this summer period. That legislation should have been acted upon in a timely manner. There is no reason or justification, in my judgment, that it has just languished there in the Senate, not being brought forth for a vote. That's unfortunate. I would hope that perhaps as early as the lame duck session, that's the earliest I believe the legislature will be coming back into session, that action could be taken on that legislation. But I congratulate Representative Foley for his leadership, certainly, and others have led on that issue. We have just simply been unable to get the Senate leadership to allow the legislation to come to the floor for a vote, and that's unfortunate.
Governor, thank you for being with us today. Thanks to your leadership, we found some funding for railroad in recent state budget. It's not a great deal, however. I'd like to know what you see the future of railroading being in Ohio and whether or not it's practical.
Well, I think it is a good future, a bright future. I think it's very practical. And we did get $400 million from the federal government. I can tell you that our sister state of Michigan would love to have received what Ohio received, as would many other states. Also, many other states had to put up state resources in order to attract federal resources. They did not require that of Ohio. $400 million is a large sum of money. It will do a lot of good things. It will establish passenger rail service linking our major cities of Cleveland, Columbus, over to Dayton, down to Cincinnati. That's the most heavily populated corridor in the nation without access to passenger rail service. Other states are moving forward with rail service. If we do not take advantage of this, Ohio will be an island that will be bypassed by the states around us. I do not intend to allow that to happen, although for reasons that I find difficult to explain, some of my colleagues, my Republican colleagues in the legislature, both in the House and in the Senate, continue to speak disparagingly of these efforts, in spite of the fact that I believe there is strong support for it from the people of our state. We will, I believe, take a major first step toward what we eventually want to have is high-speed rail connecting the heavily populated parts of our state. We must begin now. If we were to return these resources to the federal government, they will not be there for us in the future. And I see no likelihood that Ohio's budget will allow such a major expenditure out of state resources.